that we are, in fact, now live. So hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Jam Wrestling Show here on the Extreme Improv Extreme YouTube channel, as well as the Slam Jam YouTube channel, Slam Jam on Twitch, and quite possibly a couple of other places. I forget all the places we are at now. Now, it's been an interesting week in professional wrestling. AEW presented All Out, where we saw the likes of Swerve Strickland get injected through the cheek with a syringe, and Bryan Danielson get suffocated with a plastic bag. So it's been controversial, if nothing else. We also have had Monday Night Raw, where Gunther confirms that his favorite wrestler is Bill Goldberg, and did so in the face of Bret Hitman Hart. And also we have just seen that the PWI Top 500 for 2024 has been released. Now, we're going to come to you guys. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but we might even start with some of that. But let's say hello to the people. Capital Fave.
What's up, docs? Hailing from the land of leopards, elephants, and crocodiles, it's me, Capital Dave. And I haven't seen wrestling in a while.
Don't say that. It's not a good way to start a wrestling-based show. Dev, say hello to the people.
Hi, I'm Dev, and I saw wrestling 10 seconds ago, so I'm the exact opposite.
What wrestling did you see 10 seconds ago?
No Mercy.
Oh, No Mercy. Okay,
I watched the highlight video.
Okay, do you know what? Like in our group chat, I didn't know if you were trying to troll us by saying, "Oh, guys, look, I'm going to watch this," and then you sent a link to "I Believe in Joe Hendry" on loop for 10 hours. I was like, "Oh, is this the link?" And it was showing up Joe Hendry's face. Yeah. Right. So anyway, I'll tell you guys, I don't have the full list, the top 500, but Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine have released their top 500 wrestlers, male wrestlers, for 2024. Any guesses, unless you already know who is in the number one position? I'm going to come to you first, Cap. Who do you think is the number one wrestler in the world this year?
John Cena.
Oh my God! Right, no, he's not on the list, but he could be on the list because he's wrestled in the last year, so I imagine he's somewhere. But Dev, do you know?
Adrenaline in his soul, something or other.
Yes, absolutely. So Cody Rhodes, it had to be his year. WWE champion. He finished his story, and so it really shouldn't have been anyone else. What is interesting though is when I'll give you the top 5, and we can react to that, and then I'll tell you who the other 5 are. So in position number 2, this is the wrong way of doing it. I should go from 10 to 5, and then we'll go from. I've already done number 1 though. So at position number 10 is Mystico. So I'm going to assume that this is the original Mystico, known as Sin Cara, if you remember Sin Cara. And he was garbage in WWE. He was like a complete botch fest. So
they made him lose all the time. That was the problem.
No. There was multiple problems with that.
Yeah, go on.
First of all, they tried to get him to wrestle a WWE style, which he can't. Number 2, his mask was badly made, so he couldn't see shit out of it.
Oh.
Number 3, he had to wrestle in the dark.
Oh my God, yeah. So if you remember the Sin Cara matches, it was under a blue filter, long before the red matches. Yeah.
What was he thinking?
But hang on, how can you be like a masked luchador and you let someone design a mask for you that you can't see out of? He has to have at least some of the blame there.
No. Apparently, this is Vince trying to screw him over.
Why did Vince hate Sin Cara?
Because he didn't make him.
Why did he hire him then?
Honestly, diversity. He had to hire him because of he had to hire a luchador. He didn't want to, but he had to hire one.
Okay, so was this a period where there wasn't Rey Mysterio there?
Yeah, Rey Mysterio was not active at that time. Yeah.
Was he injured or in Lucha Underground? One of the two.
But Vince likes Ray, right? Vince likes Ray, right?
Yeah,
he likes making money from Ray. But Vince isn't really an issue now because he's out the picture.
Yeah.
Although there is
I'm trying to think because I thought because I was in school at that time, everyone was talking about Sin Cara, so I thought he was the next best thing. But from what when I started watching him, he mostly lost. That's why I thought, oh shit, they're
Okay,
burying even
Cap,
bosses.
I need to show
Yeah.
you videos of Mystico. I need to show you videos of Mystico. He is amazing.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
fun fact, David.
Yeah.
In Star Trek Picard, right? Episode
Yeah.
1, the girl that was in episode, like, you know, the girl they rescue that was built by Data's creator and stuff at the very beginning of the series.
Do you know what? I've not. Well, do you know what? I did watch the first season of Picard, but I don't remember it at all.
Okay, so there was this girl that Picard had to protect and get home safely.
Yeah.
And like smuggle out. In that episode, she does Sin Cara's finisher.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so anyway, moving on from Sin Cara. One of my favorite things. Here's like we haven't done trivia this week, but one of my favorite pieces of trivia was that Mystico was like known as Mystico, but there was already another wrestler called Mystico who he basically took the name second. And so the original Mystico had to then change his name. Then in WWE, they renamed the famous Mystico Sin Cara. And when they brought in the evil Sin Cara, it was the original Mystico. And then when they fired the famous Sin Cara, the fake and original Mystico, the fake Sin Cara, just became Sin Cara. It was such a weird set of circumstances.
I love the fact that it's just like Mystico, so close to Mysterio.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, the mysterious person. At number 9 in the PWI Top 500 for 2024 is the current World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther. And I don't know, like, shouldn't he be higher on this list? Like, we'll see who else is on there. But he's lost one match, basically, ever. And he was Intercontinental Champion for the longest time period and has now been World Champion. So I don't know when this period ended, but if he won the world title...
He looks dreadful.
A couple of months ago. What's that, Cap?
I just Googled him and he looks dreadful.
Who, Gunther?
Yeah.
You don't know who Gunther is?
He looks...
hang on. I bet you've got retro Gunther who looks like Dominic Mysterio. Right.
So let's see who he looks like.
Okay,
now.
Gunther has gone through like an amazing. Okay, hang on. I'm going to bring up the quintessential Gunther picture here. So all three of these are Gunther, and like he's got an incredible shape to become world champion. But check out that blonde hair. Right?
I think that's the Gunther he was going for. The Gunther from Friends.
Do you know what? Well, Gunther from Friends, maybe. But he's a hell of a wrestler. And he was Intercontinental Champion for the longest out of anyone ever. He was the WWE UK Champion for the longest anyone ever held it. And now he's the World Heavyweight Champion. But I don't think
What's his character?
Oh my God. So literally the straight up way of saying what his character is he's Austrian, but literally when they had this pay-per-view in Germany a couple of weeks ago, yeah, Cap, that's the right, your mind's going in the right direction.
Yeah, right direction.
Literally, they had the pay-per-view, the Bash in Berlin, and Randy Orton's in the ring with him, and he's like, I'm going to beat you in your home country. And it's like, he's Austrian, he's not German, right?
Okay, to be fair, okay, that kind of makes sense.
His character is basically an authoritarian character who thinks he's superior to other people. That would upset American and British people, right?
Three things I forgot to mention. I want to quickly go back to Sin Cara for a second, right? The evil Sin Cara had a friend called Hunico.
Yes.
Sorry, Camacho. A friend
called
Camacho, who is now Tangaloa.
Yes.
In the bloodline.
Yes. So,
and yeah, that's a weird evolution going from like Sin Cara's friend to.
You know what? When you go back to WWE from like the noughties and like the early 2010s, there's so many people that they had who were just in garbage gimmicks who like later become something.
Example, Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is a great example of it. Cap,
Undertaker's lawyer, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah. Right, Cap.
What I was going to say, I think you guys did speak about him in the Slam Jam chat, and I immediately replied the thing that you didn't say, David. So he's a beep beep.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Well, kind of.
Also, David, you missed one important picture about Gunther that I posted in the StreamYard chat just now.
Okay, so hang on in StreamYard chat. Let's bring this up. So yeah, basically, and look, here's the other thing. WWE, originally Gunther was, he as a wrestler, he was known as, oh my god, right? He was known as Walter or Volta, and when WWE, as they always have to, renamed him, and I forget what the full name was, but originally they were going to rename him Gunther and then some Germanic sounding last name, which was the name of a Nazi commander in World War II. And people
you said it.
Well, no, you can say it. It's not, it's not a banned word in any way. But it's just talking the reality of what perhaps what they were going for. But look at this. This is Gunther. So he gives like the hardest chops out of anyone in the world. Like, oh my god, who was it, Dev? Do you remember when he chopped someone and he left a handprint on their back? Was
Will
it Sheamus? Will Ospreay? No, it was in WWE. I'm sure he did it to Ospreay as well.
Yeah, Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus. He literally chopped someone, and afterwards there's a photo of just a handprint on them from where he's chopped.
Although to be fair, even if you chop Sheamus, there'll probably be a handprint.
Oh my god! Hang on. Okay, Gunther handprint. Let's look this up. Or it might have been Walter at the time. Gunther WWE handprint. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's Sheamus.
Yeah, it's Sheamus.
Okay. I might bring up is the first thing that comes up actually is the video. Let's try to do this. I've
got a picture if you want.
Well, okay, but it's on TikTok. It's on TikTok, so it's not going to be too bad because it's already very cropped.
Put up the shield.
I'm going to put up the shield. Don't worry. So let's get the shield.
And send the picture in the chat.
Oh my god, I don't have the
hotel.
I've got to use the Justice League one. It's the old force field. Right. Oh gosh. Let's refresh that. And let's see if we can see this moment. So look, you can see there the actual handprint on the back of Sheamus. So crazy stuff. But anyway,
Speaking of Sheamus, I do have to ask, what happened to his partner, the Swiss Superman?
He's in AEW.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. So he's wrestling back under, I think is probably his real name.
Yeah, Claudio Castagnoli.
And he left WWE basically because he wanted to be a main eventer. And Vince McMahon, it was about Claudio, I guess. What Vince McMahon was on the Steve Austin podcast, and Steve Austin said, "Hey, why? Lots of people are really high on Cesaro. And it's like, and Vince McMahon has, this is where the famous, well, you got to really grab that brass ring, that idea came from. And then I think Cesaro eventually did get one pay-per-view world title match, but it didn't go to anything. And then he left. He went to AEW, and we will get to that because he was making some headlines a couple of days back. But so next on the list, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley is number 8 in the world apparently this year. Wait, I'm just gonna say, okay, this is a really controversial list, right? We don't have to break down each one individually, so because I think we need the overall picture to make some comments here. And number 7 is AEW wrestler MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Number 6 is Damian Priest. Well, this is one of the things I'm going to say. Damian Priest was world champion from WrestleMania until he lost it to Gunther a couple of months back. Tetsuya Naito from New Japan Pro Wrestling is number 5. Seth Rollins, number 4. Will Ospreay, number 3. Cody Rhodes, we know, number 1. But at number 2 is Swerve Strickland, who literally just lost the AEW.
That is deserved, though. Swerve is deserved.
I
In
gotta
a
say,
sense,
Damian Priest looks awesome.
Damian Priest is like, he's so much better. His character, his presentation, his confidence with what he does. He's so good in the ring. Like, Cap, I don't know if you saw this, but he
looks
carried...
like.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go. No, he looks like the Roman Reigns that I would support.
Well, okay, cool. But what I was going to say is, like, if you haven't seen it, it's like a masterful thing that Damian Priest had a one-on-one singles match with Bad Bunny on a pay-per-view like a year and a half ago. And it's like, when you've got someone in the ring, now they've done WWE, they're celebrity wrestlers, you know, obviously Logan Paul, but Pat McAfee wrestling and Bad Bunny has completely changed the landscape from a few years ago when you'd have like Drew Carey in the Royal Rumble. So like now they actually get celebrities who actually can pull off a match. But obviously Damian Priest very much deserves like 70% of the credit for carrying that match and making it work, which it did. But yeah, so guys, the thing I was gonna highlight here is MJF is quite low down and he was injured for quite a while. He was out of the picture for a while. That would have worked against him. Roman Reigns was the longest world champion in like 30 or 40 years, and he isn't in the top 10, but I guess that's going to be because he only had a half dozen matches. What's your reaction to that?
I never liked him anyways.
You never liked Roman?
No, I did like when he did make the heel turn, but like, again, like, it's some occasions, like, if they'd done that a bit sooner, yeah, I think I would have liked him a lot more.
Cap, if you'd completely caught up with wrestling over the last couple of years, I promise you'd like Roman now. Because when, like, it's amazing that you're like the big John Cena fan, because a lot of wrestling fans for years were like, we can't stand Cena, he can't wrestle good enough, they're pushing him too hard, he's super Cena. And then that's exactly what they tried to do with Roman Reigns. And with both of them, you know, the audience reaction was massively mixed. And Cena, Cena was a heel, and he was a great heel once upon a time, but they never turned him heel again. Yeah, word life and all that. But with Roman Reigns, some reason they decided, okay, we will turn him heel. And the storyline with his group, the Bloodline, has genuinely been, I think, the thing that has completely turned things around for WWE in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
I think this. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the longest running storyline, and everybody in the roster was involved somehow. It felt like the Attitude Era. Everyone on the show was involved in the Bloodline. Everyone tried to stop the Bloodline. Everyone failed to stop the Bloodline. Everybody joined the Bloodline and left.
Yeah,
it's like the Nexus. But I was gonna say,
it was like the Nexus was great for the first couple of months.
Yeah,
but then as soon as they lost at SummerSlam, it was game over for them, basically.
But like with Roman, I gotta say, it's like I like when he did turn heel. He did not turn into a coward heel. He was like the Brock Lesnar figure. Like, yeah, I'm a bad guy, but like I'm not gonna run away from a fight. I'm not gonna do like cheating stuff. I'm just gonna be the badass. I like that, and I always think like when I looked at Roman when he first came on the Shield, I thought, oh, there's a guy who can play Lobo. And why is he not doing Lobo things on wrestling? Although I don't think he does have the charisma to be a character like Lobo.
He does. No, he does.
Yeah.
He does?
Okay.
Yeah,
so basically,
here's the thing. Oh, no, go ahead, Dev. Go ahead.
So I'm going to break this into DC Comics so that the Cap
Geek
fans...
battle! Right, go
for
it. Okay, so Roman went from Bane, from pre-Nightfall Bane, to Dark Side.
Ooh.
He's now the Dark Side of WWE.
Yeah, I get, but like I don't think he can play the Lobo though. Like Dark Side, yeah, I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
No, the reason why I think you need to see Roman from the last 2.5 years, basically.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of clips of him, but
so basically his character work.
Yeah, go
like his character work now, his charisma, what he was before, he was nervous. They were giving him scripts, and nowadays they'll tell him where they're going, but clearly so much of it is just what comes from him, and he's so much he's a great performer. Honestly, he's 100 times better than what he used to be when he was just doing crappy scripted promos that clearly he was no good. Because I remember, do you remember when he had to drop a world title because he'd got leukemia? Do you remember that, guys?
Yep.
Clearly, they just let him speak from the heart, and that promo, obviously it was real, but it just it went to show that wow, he can really talk and engage an audience and everything like this. And what we've had in the last couple of years from Roman is that, like, Cap, if you didn't see it when they were building up to WrestleMania and The Rock joined the Bloodline.
Yeah.
The Rock was doing all of his promo stuff, and he was about to do the final, if you smell rather. And all Roman had to do was just place his hand on the rocks to stop him and just hold it there. And the whole place like blew up with, like that, because the Rock's doing his thing. And all Roman had to do was place a hand there. No, he's so good. I would have.
Yeah, I am agreeing with like Dev's assessment of Darkseid, and I think by his even when you said like he's speaking right, he kind of does come off as when he can do scripts when it's a bit more relatable and as a normal straight bad guy like character. So I think Darkseid is good, but the thing with Lobo, I think Roman can play Lobo if Roman had Dean Ambrose's persona, but I don't think that's his stick. So, Darkseid's good.
Okay, fair enough. Now, anyway, any other thoughts on the top 10? Cody, Swerve, Ospreay, Rollins, Naito, Priest, MJF, Moxley, Gunther, and Mystico.
I'd swap Damian Priest and Naito, and MJF should be higher.
Yeah, like, I think MJF should be higher just because... But the weird thing with AEW... And I think I was speaking about this on the show last week. AEW, and I'll give you my thoughts on this, Cap, just to give you a sense of what I think is going on there. They've got a weird habit of not making the world title as important as it should be. So this guy, MJF, if you know who he is or not, he became world champion. And then for the entire run of his world title reign, I think he only main evented half of the pay-per-views that happened, maybe even slightly less. And then he eventually lost it to Swerve Strickland. I don't think there was someone in between. And for ages, Swerve wasn't the main event. And I don't know how many main events. Oh, yeah, Samoa Joe, you're right. I knew there was something missing there. So MJF lost it to Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe held it for longer because we thought he was going to be a straight-up transitional champ and just straight on someone else. He held it a few months. But then Swerve got it. But for most of his reign, he wasn't promoted in the main event enough. And now Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, is the world champion. He won it at All in London. And then the very next pay-per-view, 2 weeks later, Swerve is now in the main event in a non-title match. And Daniel Bryan is on the penultimate match leading into it. They don't make their world champions the main event, and AEW need to get that right.
I have to say, when superstars have shifted and they have to change their names completely, and I go, who the heck is that guy? I approve Daniel Bryan's choice of becoming Bryan Daniels. Thank you. Now I know who you are.
Well, but the thing is, that was the funny thing, is his real name is Bryan Danielson, and when he was in WWE, they were like, you've got to come up with a new name. And I think it was William Regal. That's what I remember in the story. Someone like that said to him, well, why not just Daniel Bryan? And he went with it. And they went with it. So Bryan Danielson became Daniel Bryan. And he was on the original. He was on the original NXT, which was it wasn't like a promotion. It was like, here are some wacky challenges where you're carrying a keg and stuff like this. Right? Yeah. And one of my favorites on it was that there was a thing where they had to try to sell as much merchandise to the audience as possible. And Daniel Bryan was just like, take it. And he was winning over the crowd. He was just giving it away. And on the commentary, Michael Cole, whoever, was like, what an idiot. That isn't winning the task. And it's like, yes, it is, because he's winning the fans, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, when in that original NXT, they put Daniel Bryan with The Miz as The Miz being Daniel Bryan's mentor. And the entire internet went, Daniel Bryan is like Bryan Danielson is 100 times the wrestler Miz will ever be. Why is The Miz the mentor of Daniel Bryan?
The best that was genius.
I feel bad for Miz.
Well, no, it's true though, right? And then when Daniel Bryan got eliminated, like 2 or 3 weeks from the end, because he clearly this was a point where this aspect wasn't scripted. They didn't know who was getting eliminated. But like Daniel Bryan on the microphone, he's like, yeah, this Daniel Bryan doesn't seem like he wins very much, but Bryan Danielson does. And he was clearly thinking, they screwed me over. I'm going back to Ring of Honor and the Indies.
No, you forgot the best part.
Oh, go on.
The two other mentors were William Regal, his actual teacher, and Chris Jericho, his friend.
I know. Yeah. And who else was a mentor? Like Christian? Like literally they put him with the very worst person to be a mentor for him.
So
is that on like, storylines or is that on like real mentors?
So I'm gonna break the emotion here. Like pull back the curtain. They did it on purpose. Because they wanted someone who's completely WWE, completely entertainment, with someone who's completely wrestling.
Yeah,
because William Regal told the story of like they don't like originally they wanted William Regal and Daniel Bryan together, but William Regal pushed for Miz and Daniel Bryan so they could eventually build it up to a Miz versus Daniel Bryan story, wrestling versus entertainment.
You know what? You go on, Cap.
Yeah, like I knew, like I saw a video where like Mark Henry said like he told a lie that Daniel was like 6 foot or 6'1" when they asked for like we need new wrestlers, and said Mark Henry, I lied for him because like they only wanted big guys,
Mark
and I wanted
lied
to get
for him to get him in, like because if it was too short, Vince would be like no, but Vince was like Mark Henry was like 6'1".
How tall is Vince?
Yeah.
No idea.
Vince, is he about like 6'3"?
No.
6'3", 6. Vince McMahon is a tall dude. Vince McMahon. Yeah, he's like, I think he's actually really tall. Let's have a look. But then again, what he says, let's see what his build height is. 6'2". So yeah, he's not a small guy.
Is this exaggerated as the heights in WWE in general?
Who's to say? Because like basically, like with anyone else, they could say, well, their build height is this, but then when they wrestled on the Indies, they were that. Vince is only ever in WWE. You know?
Also, David, I just realized something really funny.
Yeah,
there was a point in time that everyone except Miz of the NXT mentors were in AEW together.
Sorry, say that again.
All the mentors in the NXT season 1.
Yeah.
Were except for Miz, we're all in AEW together.
So like Regal, Christian, Jericho. Wow, how about that?
Matt Hardy.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
John Morrison?
No, like Johnny Nitro. He was from Tough Enough. Like that would be like getting someone. So Tough Enough was what they did before NXT, where it was like you can become a wrestler. But no, maybe they had him as a mentor at some point, but it would surprise me.
Yeah, he was a mentor in season 2.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Right, well anyway, guys.
Go.
No, go and Cap.
That's like they were pushing him in 2012s along with Sheamus, but then they clearly favored Sheamus over him. I always felt bad for that. I thought John Morrison could have been really good.
No, he's everywhere. In fact, his gimmick is he changes his surname to whatever company he's wrestling
at. Yeah. What is he in AEW? Isn't he like Johnny TV?
Johnny Elite.
Is he though? Is he? Let's AEW roster. Like maybe
he has to lose the beard though. He looks more like Prince Caspian with the beard.
Okay, so let's have a look. So, he might even be on the Ring of Honor roster at the moment. So, let's see. HIJ. Look, Johnny TV. Johnny
no,
TV.
He's Johnny TV on Ring of Honor. He's Johnny Elite on AEW.
Oh, okay, but this is the AEW website. Why haven't they got it correct?
Because they're using the Ring of Honor name.
Oh, okay. Well, why isn't he Johnny Honor? He should be Johnny. Oh my God, he should be Johnny of Honor. That would be amazing, right? Johnny of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Anyway, speaking of AEW, let's come to All Out. So we can react to the stuff. Obviously, Cap, you haven't if you haven't seen the show, but like the first thing I'll say, we had one of the unfortunate big talking point coming out of the show was people said that AEW went too far. I'll try to see if I can get photos of this. But
No,
after
David, I wouldn't.
Oh no. Oh yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Right. Okay, well let me describe it. So Daniel Brian Danielson wrestled Jungle Boy Jack Perry and won, right? Christian Cage has got a contract that he can cash in whenever he wants. And to me, it's a bit lame that AEW have just ripped off the Money in the Bank concept, but whatever. Yeah. Christian Cage has got this. He's going to come down and try to cash in at the end. But then the rest of Brian Danielson's group turns up to protect him. And it's John Moxley. It's Cesaro, so Claudio Castagnoli. It's a guy called Wheeler Yuta. And then it's Neville, if you remember Neville, who wrestles under the name Pac. And so they're all there to protect Daniel Bryan. So Christian backs away. And they're celebrating, yes, in the ring. And Claudio goes, boom, like that, and uppercuts Bryan. And Bryan sits down. He's not knocked out. He's like, what the hell is going on? And whilst he sat there, John Moxley puts a see-through carrier bag, like a cellophane bag, over his face and starts suffocating him.
And I mean, like I've seen John Cena choke out Umaga. That was the first wrestling show I saw, and I was like,
what was he choking Umaga with?
With the turnbuckle.
No, basically they broke the ring rope, and then they literally broke the ring, and like he was choking with the ring rope because it was.
That was my first WWE match, and like I had a big thing. My sister will not allow to watch wrestling because it's too violent. The only exception that I could get was John Cena, and that was the first match that I played, and John Cena literally killed the dude. At least in my eyes, when I was 9 years old.
Yeah. Right. Well, anyway, so. Well, look, I'm going to bring up this image. I think this is okay. I don't think this will break any rules or anything. So you'll see this image. It's a still image, right? And so he put this over Daniel Bryan like this. Now, the thing I pointed out...
It has holes, right? It has holes, right?
Well, the idea is no. But look, Daniel Bryan's hand is free. Both of his hands are free. So the joke I made about it is, why didn't you rip it? Just go like that, rip a hole in it, get a breathing hole in there. But anyway, so that was truly shocking. And then the next thing that AEW had, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page.
Before you move on really quickly,
go ahead.
Did you see what AEW tweeted seconds off that, like after the bag thing?
No, tell me.
They're like, because what happened was so horrible, we can't show this, like we can't post about it.
Yeah, do you know what? That's a really clever post, though, isn't it? Because then everyone's going to be
like, "Oh, what's the horrible thing? We need to watch."
Everyone then wants to see what it is.
But although I don't think it's that violent. Like WWE stuff, way worse than that.
No. Well, Cap, give us like 10 minutes. You'll see in this. You'll see in like 10 minutes.
Okay, so I can sum it up. Daniel Bryan was fired from WWE the first night of the Nexus because he choked the ring announcer with his own tie. And now, literally, on AEW, Daniel Bryan is being suffocated in a similar way. Yeah. So, literally, even though he's now the victim, to show how, like, controversial this is literally on par with something that got the same guy fired 10 years ago.
Also, David, I'm making an edit, right? I'm making an edit of that scene.
Yeah.
Just like as he gets choked out, it just cuts to Justin Roberts cheering.
You got what?
As Daniel Bryan's getting choked out, it just cuts to Justin Roberts cheering for
it. yeah, absolutely. Because you could, you should, if you're making an edit of it, You need to have sort of like that misty flashback of the same thing happening to him all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
David, before you move on, like, who is Cesaro now? What's his name?
Claudio Castagnoli.
What's his character?
Exactly the same.
Yeah. The thing with like Cesaro, right? When I first saw him in WWE, I was like, this guy needs to be the Jason Statham of WWE, and he never became that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you know who became that guy? John Moxley.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Moxley kind of likes Jason Statham. Yeah.
Gosh, do you know what, guys? I'm just going to show you this. I'm trying to find what happened with Swerve. And this is just too funny not to show. It's literally just a clip from the wrestling. But, like, what a perfectly timed camera angle is that? It's just his pyro. That is, like, amazing. That is a perfectly timed...
Is that Bobby Lashley?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's Lesnar.
Yeah. Okay, so Swerve Strickland wrestled in like
every time David you say that, it reminds me of Sean Strickland from USA.
Well, this is you don't know who Swerve Strickland is, man.
No,
right. Let me bring up Swerve. Okay. Well, he used to be in like NXT. I'm not sure if he ever made it to the main roster.
He did. It was a SmackDown for
like a week, right?
Yeah, and they got fired.
Tiny amount of time.
Everyone else got really hard except him.
I can't. Do you know what? The only thing I can get is a bit of footage. I can't show it. It's too violent. So it's a cage match. Hangman Page gets a syringe, opens his mouth, and sticks it through his cheek. Now, here's the thing. Hangman and Swerve. I'm a big CM Punk fan, so to hell with Hangman Page is my attitude, because he cost AEW CM Punk ultimately. But doesn't mean that Hangman Page isn't a good wrestler. But I think he's, I don't know if it's Tony Khan who runs AEW, Hangman Page himself, Swerve a little bit. You know, they had a match a year ago, Swerve and Hangman Page. Swerve starts bleeding. Hangman gets underneath him so that Swerve's blood pours in his own mouth so he can spit blood. Right? Yeah, exactly. Right?
Also,
that's some hepatitis
also
shit.
So many diseases.
I know.
Are you an idiot?
That's some hepatitis
like,
shit.
what is this? Cannibalism. Right? And so I said at the time, I'd have fired both of them. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not talented, right?
That's like clear violation of like athletic codes and stuff. Like, don't do that.
I don't know why AEW feel the need to do stuff which is like, it's like this garbage wrestling, because I know for a fact, like if I was watching it with my girlfriend, I'd feel embarrassed to be in the ring. You know what I mean? And so then the thing with the syringe, it's like this is...
is it like a real needle thing or is it fake?
Yeah, they put a real needle
to stay there. Yeah.
Ah, dang, man. No, don't do that.
It's like through one end coming out the other.
Yeah. It's like you don't need to do that, is my honest opinion. Right?
Isn't there a controversial wrestler like Ajax or someone like that? I saw many clips on YouTube where it's like does like stunts like
New Jack.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like that.
He's dead now. That's right.
Yeah.
But it kind of sounds like that. It kind of sounds like that.
Okay, so New Jack was a special type of person, like an actual bounty hunter before becoming a wrestler, right?
Oh.
And then he wrestled a guy. I'm trying to remember.
Mass Transit.
No. Oh yeah, that's a different story. Who was the guy that he threw off the thing?
Was it not actually?
No. So Mass Transit was a guy in ECW who was just like a jobber, and he was underage. He was like 14 or 16 or something. And he was like, yeah, I'm a wrestler. And he was a really big guy. And he wanted to, like, he was going to be wrestling New Jack. And because he was excited, he was like, hey, we should do this and do that. And basically not respecting that the veteran should be the one leading the match. He was giving too much information, and he wanted to bleed in ECW. So New Jack's like, I'll bleed, I'll cut you, and he cut him. Right, that was one thing.
Vic Grimes.
Vic Grimes, yes. So they climbed up a balcony, as that always used to happen in ECW, And when they got up there, Vic Grimes looks down. He's like, I don't want to do this. And New Jack's like, we're doing this. And they go off. But because New Jack literally had to pull him, New Jack got injured. They both got injured. But it's because Vic Grimes tried to chicken out. It's like, what are they meant to do? Both climb back down, right? So basically, New Jack got landed on, didn't land at all well. Not that you can land well off a balcony anyway. And I think it affected his vision. So roll forward to Combat Zone Wrestling, I believe, a few years later. And they had a scaffolding match, I believe. So there's like scaffolding above the ring. And New Jack, and there was a stack of tables stacked up. And New Jack decided to take revenge just by throwing Vic Grimes off of this with the intention of just throwing him to miss and maybe could quite possibly have been attempted murder. Luckily for Vic Grimes, I think he hit the ropes and bounced off it, but it looks terrible when you see it. And like,
I've seen clips of his stuff. Like, I don't know who he is. Like, I've seen like this is the most dangerous wrestler in like shorts and stuff. That's why, like when you said like this doing extreme stunts like this, like I'm getting flashbacks to those clips I saw.
Yeah,
Cap, I put the gif of it in the StreamYard chat.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring that one up though. So anyway, but yeah, so some of this level of violent stuff, I don't think mainstream wrestling should do it, and WWE shouldn't do it. I hated WWE, even though it was clearly pathetic when they did that eye for an eye match. If you remember that, where the only way between Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, you had to extract the eyeball of your opponent. This was during the pandemic. Rey Mysterio on the corner of like the steps is holding a fake eye, right? And it was so clearly fake, but at the same time, I was like, this is it. It goes too far. It goes too far.
I mean, like I like when they did like buried alive matches.
Yeah,
like,
that's fine.
That kind of, because like it's clearly a magic trick and it's like stage and looks cool. Like as a kid, you'd be like, oh, it's real and thing and stuff like that. But like doing too much body horror stuff is, I would say,
my problem with so David didn't mention it, but I had another problem at the very beginning of the match. When they were lowering the cage, they nearly got decapitated.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! Yeah.
And like the manager had to run and like push them both in to make sure they didn't get decapitated by the cage.
Yeah, but okay. Oh, speaking of body horror, guys, we'll get to Geek Battle whatever day that is. That might quite possibly be tomorrow. As a slight aside to that, I saw the movie The Substance as a preview of it. Right, I'll talk about it tomorrow in terms of body horror, but if you do, you don't need to do like body horror stuff in wrestling. I don't think it's necessary.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
It feels like Tony Khan treats wrestling like Sam Raimi does.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. Yeah.
I would say instead of doing that, I would say create interesting characters, because like that was the selling point of WWE.
That's what NXT used to do.
Yeah. Do you know what?
NXT still does it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get on to the rest of the results from All Out. So MJF defeated Daniel Garcia. Any particular thoughts on that? Good match.
I liked the match, but I didn't like the fact that it was MJF starting again. Why is he always the first match?
That's a good question, right? I don't know why they're not like MJF. I don't know how much they just re-signed him for. And when he got his tattoo,
is it a case of like he doesn't want to be there after the show or during the show? Does he want to go there, like do his stuff and leave?
Is it that they're trying to he was in the main event for quite a long time, and they don't want to put him in the main event yet, and they're kind of struggling what to do with him? But the
problem is, he is primed for the main event. He's made for the main event. He doesn't need to go back to the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know. Like AEW have a load of problems just with organizing stuff.
Do you remember the finish of the Garcia MJF match? Because that was messed up as well. They botched.
Did they remind me what happened?
I can't exactly remember what happened, but they botched the finish, and like MJF was mad, and they had to redo it, and MJF won, but they played Garcia's music, and it was a mess.
Oh my god! Well, then didn't Garcia like get, because the idea was that MJF like did a spike pile driver or something on him, and then he got his revenge after the match, and that'll be the blood. That's the end of their feud now, right?
I think the revenge was to make up for the botch, basically.
Yeah. Also, guys, I'm gonna give you a UFC fact. You are not allowed to pile drive someone in the UFC.
Actually?
Yeah. You can slam them, but you can never do a pile driver. That's the rule. You can't do that in the UFC.
Well, can you slam someone on their head?
Yes.
No, not directly. Again, you can't do it like a pile driver or anything where you drop the head.
Could you power bomb them?
You can power bomb.
Yes, you power bomb them. You can power slam them, so they land on their neck, but you can't like bop them on their head.
To be fair, though, you think of a pile driver. If you squeeze someone's head between your thighs, they're not actually going to get anywhere. The thighs are probably the strongest muscle in the human body.
Yeah, so but like that.
If you clamp them there, you could then like just absolute brute force them up and go down.
Yeah.
No, I get that. That does make sense. Just because a pile driver is a move you can do to someone if you force it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay, we then had Will Ospreay and Pac. Great match.
Really fucking good match. They had a
really good match. But it was always going to be. Afterwards, though, there was a cameo by Ricochet. If you know who Ricochet is, Ricochet is now in AEW. And
he's gone too.
He kept saying he can't speak on the mic to save his life. He was like, anytime you think about it, mate, or something like this, just like over and over again.
Okay.
Right? Bad on the mic.
He is my problem with Ricochet as a person. He is immature as hell on social media. Like,
actually, I've not paid attention.
He responds to everyone who makes fun of him being in AEW. He responds to everyone.
Oh my god, I'm going to start trolling this guy then. No, I'm joking.
Get him on the show, David.
And plus, since Lucha Underground, he could never speak. That's why they made him into British Boomer. And had Conan be his manager.
Yeah.
Conan's the best speaker ever.
You think Conan is the best speaker ever?
Did Conan the Barbarian?
Conan's a really good speaker. Like,
Conan is a good speaker. Like in WCW, you know, he was like he was the cool factor of the NWO and stuff like this.
He's not the best speaker ever, but like he's the best non-WWE speaker.
Conan is a good speaker. I mean, I don't know why WWE, other than like his Max Moon moment, never brought Conan in after WCW.
Vince has certain opinions. Vince has certain opinions about people from where he is.
Yeah. But like he had Ray there for so long. It's like Conan
Ray prints money.
Yeah. Conan would have been money. Conan was money. Conan was like
Conan's
the biggest
also
star
very
in
difficult to talk to.
Yeah.
Conan's actually very difficult to deal with.
So Vince does not like Lucha Libres at all?
Probably not.
No.
Probably
because he didn't invent the Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
So it's like, I hate this because I didn't create it.
I'll tell you something though. The way Rey Mysterio adapted, and you know, Eddie Guerrero, I would say Rey Mysterio is the most pure lucha style that you have. Eddie Guerrero, you know, wrestled a more American style in WCW and especially in WWE. But I'd say Rey Mysterio is the one who adapted the style most to fit in with WWE American style. Because when you actually watch anything like CMLL or AAA, like there's so many arm drags and moves that are just implausible. There's so much stuff where it's just like it looks like cooperation. So you know, I think just being able to overcome that aspect is a big important.
The reason like WWE and Rey Mysterio gelled so well as well is that Ray really appreciated putting the mask back on.
Yeah.
Because WCW made him take it off, like breaking a lucha tradition.
Yeah. Although I would say he does have a good face.
You think Rey Mysterio has a good face?
He does have a good face.
He looks like a 10-year-old. He still looks like a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
Then
that's a
older
good
than he
face. He
does.
can never age. He's
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves in that sense.
Okay, so a couple other matches on All Out to get on with, basically. So Okada kept his Continental Championship. Okay, so let's quickly get through that match against Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Takeshita. And it was a good match, but meh. Like, what? Like, AEW have too many titles, and I don't understand which title means what. There's the world title, which, as I said, isn't usually the main event. Then we've got the Continental Championship, the International Championship, and the TNT Championship. And I don't know which one is meant to be the secondary title, the third title. Nothing means anything.
So I jokingly call these the world title, the Okada title, and the racism title.
The racism title. Which one is the racism title?
International.
The international.
Because when MJF
Who's
had
the
it,
champion?
it was American. Now,
it was the
now
American.
No, when MJF had it, it was the American title.
Yeah.
When Ospreay had it, it was a British title.
Wait. It's not called the British title now, is it?
No. Now it's international again. But before
Okay.
it was British.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like, what does the intercontinental means, anyways? I never understood what that.
Okay,
word
between
meant.
continents. So like,
Yeah, between continents.
Okay.
But now AEW, they don't have an intercontinental championship. They have
They
a
have a continental.
continental championship.
yeah,
So
they
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
United States.
they don't have a US title. They have an American title, which is
Yeah.
now the
America!
international title.
Yeah. Right. But anyway, so overall, I thought that it was a good show. I didn't think it was a better show overall than. Oh my god! Actually,
You missed one.
yeah, like probably actually the match that stole the show: Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Right?
No, the tags.
What did I miss? What?
The tag title.
Oh, what? Bucks and Blackpool Combat. I thought. Okay,
Bugs Bunny?
No, it was the giant cluster one with like 5 teams in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, was that on the pre-show though?
Was it on the pre-show?
I've
it
got
for the
pre-show.
title?
So the tag titles was Blackpool Combat Club and Young Bucks, but then there was the trios match, which
No,
was
yeah, sorry, I
undisputed-
meant the BCC with the Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because I know the
But-
pre-show had like 25 wrestlers in it.
I know. Their pre-shows are a major problem. I was at All In person in London,
Yeah.
and I was at the back of Wembley Stadium, literally one row behind me only. And when they have like a 15-man tag team match, I couldn't tell who anyone was. And I was genuinely thinking,
Yeah.
oh man, this is going to be a long show. Should I actually leave early? Because this is worth just seeing ants wrestle from a distance. Right, guys. So let's move on just because like time's getting away and all that. A couple of other things I guess we can react to. So WWE have got their deal with Netflix coming up from January.
Yeah.
And they've basically
The McMahon
announced,
movie is here.
right?
I
but
don't know why they
basically
did that. I don't know why they're
did
doing
what?
this.
Netflix.
Yeah, and like, why would you sabotage your own brand by having a like documentary shitting on what you just got?
Do you know it's such an interesting thing because when is it out? It's out in like a couple
Next
of weeks,
week.
right?
Isn't
Next
it?
week, right?
25th.
We're gonna see because they were making that documentary for years, and it probably wasn't going to be harsh on Vince.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, they were like, "Oh well, WWE's coming to Netflix. We filmed this whole thing. Let's put out a poster where it's going to be like, oh, Vince is the puppeteer,' and then it's probably not going to be that harsh.
Yeah, I
They're
think it's not going to be that harsh.
I don't
That's
think it's
like-
going to be that harsh.
Because like it has like The Rock and stuff, so like if you have him, you're not
Yeah.
gonna get into like very nitty-gritty details. Rock would be like, nope,
Well-
I'm out.
But you also like, so I've still got the theory that there's been like power plays, and either first Triple H and Stephanie were trying to steal WWE, right? And then Rock and Nick Khan, his childhood friend, suddenly a position so that Rock's on the board, and then the next day Vince is out, right? There's been power plays happening left, right, and center. But the other aspect of it is the death of WCW, or Who Killed WCW documentary, was a $7 production, the Rock's production company, co-producing with the guys that do Dark Side of the Ring. And what that tells me is Dark Side of the Ring, where it'd always been like the stuff WWE or any of the wrestling companies and individual wrestlers didn't want spoken about, we're now suddenly partnering with The Rock. They're not going to want to tread on the toes of. So that I don't think we're going to get a Dark Side of the Ring Vince McMahon episode, or if we do, it's now going to be, well, let's not upset the House of Vince. Basically, there's power plays. It's a chess game. But anyway, so WWE is coming to Netflix in January, which, to be honest, I'm really excited about, because if all of the WWE pay-per-views, Raw, SmackDown, in the UK at least, are all on this one thing, you know, I already get Netflix, and at times I've been like, oh, Netflix hasn't got anything new on in between Stranger Things and Cobra Kai. Now it'll have something every single week that I want to see in WWE. But what I was going to say is, because
smart move by Netflix, like,
oh my God, it's the smartest move. Like, I think Netflix, they're going to be so pleased to have WWE, because I genuinely think that their subscriber base is going to take a significant bump. You know,
for them, like their advantage was they were the only streaming service with all the properties, but now everyone has their streaming services, and most of their stuff suck. So,
but do you know what? I think you can't underestimate how popular and how global wrestling is, and I think there's going to be places around the world where suddenly their subscriber base for Netflix doubles because of the inclusion of WWE.
Yeah, I think the only way Disney can get on the Netflix is they get like UFC on board, but they already own ESPN.
No, they can't. They can't get UFC. WWE and UFC are owned by the same company.
But ESPN is also kind of owned by Disney.
Oh, I don't know.
ESPN is owned by Disney. Yes.
Yeah.
And is that where UFC's shown? That's going to be a legacy deal. I guarantee that's going to be a legacy deal from before the time.
Yeah, it is.
Where, so when
I'm going to look it up now, because it's.
But do you know what? Didn't Disney actually air WWE in India or something like this?
They did, and failed miserably.
Well, do you know what? Oh, that's interesting in itself. Then
they kind of did it on the time there was a cricket match, and India loves cricket, so
Here's an interesting fact I just found out. Right?
Yeah,
it was a legacy deal, but it expires January 2025.
Oh,
so what if Netflix gets that too?
Well,
oh my God, Disney, you're getting tough competition.
Yeah, like if Netflix got UFC and WWE, like it's going to be interesting, because what I was going to say is that with WWE's deals, because look, they've been on Fox and now they're not going to be on Fox, and so for the next couple of months, it's like Raw and SmackDown are on USA or whatever in America, but they've announced that Raw is only going to be a 2-hour show until the end of the year, right? And will WWE go back? Will Raw go back to being 2 hours? Because I think it's always been acknowledged that a 3-hour show might give them more advertising money, but it makes it a harder show to produce. And for watching wrestling, like, to me, growing up, it would be that WWF Raw or WCW Nitro, when they first were a thing, it's like they lasted an hour long each. And then it's like, oh, now they've gone to 2 hours each. And then WCW went to 3 hours, and then also added the Thursday Thunder show, which then was why WWF created SmackDown. And it's like things spiraled out of control. And I genuinely think that with AEW, WWE, TNA, NWA, New Japan, whatever, Ring of Honor, whatever else you watch, I cannot watch that much wrestling in a week, right? It is impossible to keep up with everything. If WWE, and look, and the major thing I think which has hurt AEW is when it first started, they were a 2-hour show and they'd have 4 pay-per-views a year. And now they've got 2 hours on a Wednesday, 2 hours on a Saturday, an hour on a Friday. Now they'll tape the hour that's on a Friday usually, and then they do more and more monthly pay-per-views, and they don't have enough fans to fill the arenas. All of these wrestling companies need to focus in, be a 2-hour show, be once a week, and then make it an event every single week.
And I think any promotion's going to lower their time and focus on singular shows, probably going to be the most famous one, because like people just don't have the time anymore.
Exactly. Go on, Dev.
I actually need to say several things, because first of all, there was like kind of breaking news like a day or two ago, where a AEW show got leaked, a new one, a trademark for an AEW show got leaked, and apparently that's going to Fox.
Yeah. Okay.
AEW Shockwave is going to Fox.
Yeah. So WWE is no longer on Fox. This is so funny how time repeats itself, because years ago WWE was on whatever channel they were on, TNN or whatever, that they basically ECW was on a channel. WWE then moved to be on the channel, so ECW got cancelled. And
I love ECW.
Yeah, well, but it was WWE just consumed everything, right? And so then like when WCW was going to end, it was like, I forget which names of all the channels from USA Network or whatever, right? So WWE, I'm muddling up with WCW. My thoughts are clear now. WWE was on USA Network, and WWE went to a different channel. And so then TNA were like, hey, USA Network, you don't have wrestling anymore. And so like they just did a swift move to the channel that lost wrestling, suddenly grabbed some lesser wrestling. And it sounds like the same thing is going to happen again, where like Fox is now going to be without wrestling. And so now they'll pick up something of AEW.
I also have to, this is a small add-on going to the streaming services. I think they're going to be pirated a lot. That's going to be definitely a thing. Because like the advantage of cable television that I always thought was, it's just cable. You only have to pay the cable bill. That's all I have to do. And it's not that much anyways, because it's always set on the local currency.
Yeah.
But with streaming services, I have to pay Wi-Fi bill, and it depends on your Wi-Fi services. But like most countries, like Sri Lanka and stuff, like you had to pay for broadband, it's like GB limit. So you're always like conserving GBs because of your official work stuff or any other stuff. But if it's on like Netflix, like it's easier for me to pirate, because if I go through the service, I have to play Netflix and I also have to pay my Wi-Fi bill. It's double the money for me.
That's really interesting, just because, and it goes to tell you about like different places in the world and stuff. I would say I can't say about America, but I would say the UK at least has got to the point where there's pretty good internet, like across the whole country, and fast internet too. And so I think we're reaching the point where everything is integrating online stuff to the point where they don't see that as being an issue.
I mean,
so go ahead.
My phone line is on the internet.
Yeah, like likewise, like literally my phone line. Do you mean like a landline?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if the internet goes down, we can't make phone calls. It's crazy, right?
Really?
It's so crazy how much.
The landlines are not landlines anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah. They replaced all last year.
Yeah, and it was a big controversy where literally like, well, what was if the internet goes down? What was if we, if you lose like power and stuff? They were like, oh well, there's this battery thing that you can get, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, so AEW might have another show called Shockwave. I think whatever the deal with Turner, TBS, whatever they're currently on, I think AEW need to get a new deal where they say, well, Rampage is going away, Collision is going away, and we're going to have Dynamite and we'll have Shockwave if this is going to be a thing. But basically, they should have a 2-hour show, sell out the arena each week, and not push their fan base to having to attend too many shows.
Honestly, what I would do is I'd scrap Collision, which was a CM Punk show. I'd scrap Shockwave
Yeah.
and have AEW Dynamite on Wednesday and ROH on Friday or Thursday or whatever.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he bought Ring of Honor and couldn't get. Well, here's the thing: he couldn't get a TV deal for it. He tried, but people like obviously television executives didn't understand. If your brand is called All Elite Wrestling, then why are you giving us another show called Ring of Honor Wrestling? It's like Ring of Honor needs to be to AEW what NXT is to WWE. Then it would make sense.
Yeah.
But,
or like at least the SmackDown to its Raw.
Yeah, I don't even think that. Just have it as because otherwise, because SmackDown and Raw are meant to be equal, right?
Yeah.
NXT, it's okay that it's in this small little studio and stuff like this, right?
I mean, you could make it online only. If you don't get a TV deal, put it on Twitch or something.
Yeah.
Put it on Twitch or Bleach Report or something. Oh, you say that, Cap, but the reason TNA got so big is because they started putting on Twitch.
Oh, I mean, that's a smart move. I would say, like, free platforms are much easier for you to get more fans than, like, if you're with the paid platforms. David, we can't hear you.
So, David, your connection is being weird. We can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, it's being a bit weird. May begin to wrap things soon just because it's happened twice.
In case Wi-Fi is failing, get your landlines back.
Yeah, damn it. Right, but okay, but no, I think TNA was on Twitch for a while. Like TNA is this weird story of like how have they survived 20 years and stuff like this. And I guess it's because for the most part whenever they try to go big, they're quickly like, oh, it's scary out there, and they just keep it small always.
Okay.
So
as a Twitch streamer, I need to explain how TNA used Twitch to get big. The main way that you get big on Twitch is through clips, and wrestling is really clippable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
how do they share the clips on Twitch?
There's a button that says clip whatever you're watching, and you can make the clip.
Yeah. And where does the clip get shown?
That just get posted everywhere, like Twitter, whatever.
Okay.
You can make the clip and then post it anywhere you wanted. So the clips are really viral, which brought a new audience to the Twitch stream, which is how they grew their fan base from non-wrestling viewers.
That's what they do, right? Like Twitch streamers usually like get clipped on, and then they put it on YouTube, and they get more audience on YouTube as well. But they mainly stream on Twitch.
Yeah. But it's a really like TNA's got a really interesting story just because when they first started, they didn't have a TV channel, and so they did pay-per-views every single week. And the proposition was, well, if you're spending $40 for a WWE pay-per-view once a month and you get 3 hours of wrestling, you pay $10 a week, so it's still $40 a month, and each week you get a 2-hour show, so you get 8 hours of wrestling for the same price. But as soon as they could get a TV deal, they did, and it was like on Fox Sports for 1 hour, but it was on like at 3:15 on a Saturday afternoon, and they had to pay for it. And eventually, like I mentioned earlier, WWE shifted off of USA Network, and then they put TNA, followed by, or maybe it was the other way around, like Ultimate Fighter, followed by TNA, so they'd have Ultimate Fighter as a lead-in, and like TNA. The funny thing is, their history, they have had higher ratings, and like television landscape is different nowadays, but they had higher ratings than what AEW has ever had. Like they'd do 1.5 million on a Thursday night or whatever. Their problem was they signed Hulk Hogan and they said, we're going head to head with Monday Night Raw. They lasted like 3 weeks. And they were like, shit, we can't take the heat. And they got out the kitchen. And then after that, like TNA, they messed around.
They gave too much power to Hogan and Bischoff and turned into... They gave too much power to Hogan and Bischoff trying to fight Vince that they couldn't get the control back for ages. Yeah. And those two turned into WWE.
But people were so excited when they signed Hogan. But literally, from the first week that Hogan was there, they suddenly brought in the Nasty Boys and Val Venus and there was like half the roster wasn't the TNA roster
Jeff Hardy
anymore.
turned into this like umbrella waving guy for some reason.
Yeah, like
Ricky
suddenly there was
Rhodes.
Hall and Nash and Orlando Jordan and X-Pac was there, and it was a completely different roster. And
Sting
then like a
was
week
too.
later, oh no, but Sting was already there, right? But then like a week later, they were like, "We're getting rid of the 6-sided ring, brother," right? And they brought him in a 4-sided ring. It's like you've taken everything that was TNA and you've just turned it into WCW, right?
Do you know why they took away the ring?
Well,
Hogan didn't want it.
Hogan didn't want it, even though I don't think he ever wrestled in TNA.
No.
Or did he?
I don't think he had a match. I don't think he had a match.
Like punch and like pose thing. He punched someone and posed.
Yeah, he might have had a match in TNA. Actually, I think he did in the end. It's like Hulk Hogan.
I know Macho Man did.
Macho Man did. Yeah, that was awesome. It was like he was so he had no ability to do it. His last match, Hulk Hogan's last match, was a 6-man tag match win on TNA, Maximum Impact Tour of England. Hogan's last match was in England. And
I think I was there. What year was it?
2012.
I was still in school.
I was there.
Okay, look. Okay, let's see what it says his last match was. So many people thought, no, they didn't think it was Randy Orton. Right? It doesn't say what the match was. Where does it actually say what it was? So Hogan's took his last match took place in the UK, teamed with former rival Sting and Bully Ray to take on the Aces and Eights. Doc, isn't that for God's sakes, isn't that shit like AJ Styles goon? I can't even remember his name now. God, Festus, what's his name now?
Luke Gallows.
Gallows. Jesus Christ, my brain. Like, okay, Mr. Anderson, which was Mr. Kennedy, and Devon Dudley. Oh my God, what a shitty lineup.
Jeff Hardy was in that too, right?
Not in that match.
So we need to talk. Do we need to bring up Victory Road?
What, Jeff Hardy at Victory Road?
Yeah.
Well, we can do. Cap, if you haven't seen it, Jeff Hardy in TNA was just like off his head in one particular match, which is a good. It's worth seeing just because it's a surreal moment, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure Dev will.
Send me the link, Dev. Send me the link.
I'll send you a link afterwards.
Okay, but anyway, so let's begin to wrap this one up now, guys. Just before my internet completely goes, I'm going to refresh wrestling Twitter to see if there's any breaking news.
Is there any like cool characters like God, Sting, Undertaker, or the Boogeyman?
Well, actually, you mentioned this. So the thing we've got like this, the supernatural character of the moment is the Wyatt 6-6, which is Bray Wyatt's real life brother, Bo Dallas.
Oh yeah,
Uncle Howdy, and Bray Wyatt then obviously passed away, but they'd already introduced the Uncle Howdy character, and they'd been teasing like the Wyatt 6 or the Wyndham 6 or whatever when Bray Wyatt wasn't in WWE. He'd got some plan, and now I don't know if he'd told everyone his plan and that they're now bringing it back without him obviously there to honor him. But Uncle Howdy is the leader of the Wyatt 6 or the Wyatt 6-6. And so you've still got Eric Rowan, who was in the Wyatt family. Then you've got Nikki Cross, who is basically Sister Abigail. Dexter Lumis.
Wait, isn't that another wrestler, a blonde wrestler? I forgot the name of.
No, not Alexa Bliss.
Did I say Alexa Bliss?
No,
Alexa Bliss.
He thinks Nikki.
Oh no. So Nikki Cross. Yeah. So I don't know where Alexa Bliss is. I think she had a baby or something.
Yeah,
so,
she had a baby. She had maternity leave.
I'd be amazed if she didn't get involved in this story when she returns, though.
No. Okay, so let me explain. There's 5 of them, right? There's 5 of them in the group. That's why they called the Wyatt 6, as in SICKS. When Alexa joins, they'll become the 6, as in SIX.
Yeah. Although people were saying that the 6th one is Bray.
But like all the logo now doesn't say 6. It says 6.
No, I know that. Yeah. Right. But
I want more. Like even looking behind you, David, you got the Ultimate Warrior, basically He-Man. Like we need more stuff like that.
Okay, we had Matt Hardy.
yeah, oh my god, yeah. Right. Anyway, let's begin to wrap this up, guys. I can't find any important breaking wrestling news, so I'm gonna trust that everyone's made it. Last thing, actually, I will say, if you haven't seen Raw, so Gunther is on Raw, and he's in the ring with Bret Hart because it's in Canada, and it's like, Bret, you're always my second favorite wrestler. And the audience like, boo. They think he's gonna say Shawn Michaels. He's like, but my favorite wrestler is Bill Goldberg, who obviously retired Bret Hart, kicked him in the face and stuff. I don't even know how Bret Hart had the humor to allow that in the storyline there, but
I
good
saw
stuff.
like some clips of Bret Hart talking about stuff, and he said like he never really had a good persona. But I always thought he had a cool persona, like Bret the Hitman Hart. I kind of liked it.
Bret said himself never had a good persona.
Yeah, like he said, like his character wasn't really that good.
No, like Bret Hart is like legit my like childhood hero. He's like he always spoke about respect and everything. To the point, guys. To the point. I'm never more than a couple of foot away from my Simpsons Bret Hart figure. Not that you can see it with the there you go. You know, got to respect the Hitman. Now, let's wrap this up. Dev, where can the people find you?
They can find me on TikTok and Twitch under the name FWDAT. And my wrestling recommendation is the Rascals match on NXT No Mercy.
Yeah, okay. Cap, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Swordbeach, where singing and dance and throw myself in the bucket, and I work with puppets. And next week there's gonna video that DevMate's gonna premiere with that Demon Slayer and stuff. If you wrestling people care about that, also watch that. And my wrestling recommendation, okay, there was a match with like a fatal four-way with like Undertaker, John Cena, Triple H, and then Kane with the other guys, JBL and Randy Orton and Edge. So go watch that. This is always my best match to watch on YouTube.
Okay, cool. So my name is David Pstansky. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Pstansky. But more importantly, make sure you smash the subscribe. Look up Slam Jam Wrestling Show on all of the platforms. And this is one of the last shows of Slam Jam before it evolves. It becomes NXT 2.0. It isn't just going to be Monday Night Raw. It's going to be Raw is War. It's going to the next level very soon. There's going to be fresh formats, fresh look, and all kinds of stuff changing up the show. Not just this. Check out tomorrow Geek Battle, which will be one of the last Geek Battles of the current era before things go to the next level. And I know it's so close. I could literally do it this week, but I'm showing the discipline and just making sure I've got all of the pieces where they need to be before we do the changeover. But with that, until next time, stay safe, always stay extreme, live long and prosper. That's what I say on Geek Battle. You Slam Jam bronies. So snap into a Slam Jam. Boom. We're off the air.